We just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore fine. Winter ready on the full ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore fine. Winter ready on the full ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5.
What's going on, guys? It's your host, your boy, George Mackay, back here in the Straight Talk Studios. Now, this is going to drop sometime in April, maybe possibly May. I've got so many in the can right now, and I'm excited. But this one is one I've been waiting to get for a long time because he busts my chops all the time. Every time I see him, I'm like, yo, I got to get you on the show. And he's like, yeah, he said it to me the last 4 times. And he's right. Because I always say shit and I fucking fuck it up all the time. But without further ado, he's here. The man, the myth, the legend, P.D. SKILLZ.
Yeah, your boy's here because Gabriel Fuerza wasn't available for the 6th time, baby.
Listen, SKILLZ, you're my brother, you're family. But Fuerza's my best friend. There's actual proof that is a thing.
I don't think there's anything I have seen that even you might display as proof. He looks so sad. He looks like my pictures with Kyle.
Are you? Oh, you're not comparing me to your illegitimate bastard son, are you?
I'm not saying he's your daddy, but I'm saying it looks like he might be.
Well, first off, he's like 12 years younger than me, but all right, no problem.
Hey, man, if anybody knows a thing or two about having mathematically impossible children,
it's you. You are the man.
Got it.
So let's talk about that first off. Is probably one of the greatest storylines in Ontario indie wrestling history, in my honest opinion. You and your illegitimate bastard child, that Kyle, who I had on the show. I had to get the son before I got the father because there was a buildup here. But that Kyle talked a lot about the fact that when he started training wrestling, where he was training, it was a big mess, emotionally damaging for him and stuff like that. And then he broke out of that. He got into the scene. He worked his way up. And then the opportunity to have this storyline happen worked out between you and him. And the cool thing is that the way he mentioned it is that this is a storyline that's transcended promotions. This is a storyline that's carried over in multiple different wrestling locker rooms, if you will. It's a story that's pretty much been passed around Ontario indie wrestling like Adam Hayes has in Oshawa. It's a big fucking deal. So talk to me about the fact that this storyline idea came about and you guys have literally like you said, you've gone across. It's the one storyline in indies here in Ontario that has literally worked a lot of different promotions. And that's cool, especially on the indies. So touch on that for me.
So, I mean, the way it came about originally was kind of Kyle, like during COVID, and everybody was doing different things to try and get themselves over. And we were doing the No Ring North stuff. And Kyle was doing a bunch of videos where he was trying to find his father. And, like I believe there was Jim Cornette. I think there was Nick Gage. There was Madman Pondo. Like all these videos of them, denying being his father and his quest to find his father. So when we were in a fatal 4-way at one of the No Ring North tapings, it was one of the final matches, and I was trying to get his attention. So I just yelled, "Hey Kyle, I'm your real dad." And at that moment, like I said, I don't know why I said it. I just thought it was funny. So I'm like, "Oh, I'm your real dad," that shock and awe moment. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if it's because it was COVID and we were all in shape. Maybe he was blown up. Maybe he had just triggered his gag reflex, got hit in the stomach weird. Whatever it was, in that moment, he goes over to the garbage pail and starts puking. And I thought it was like he was just gimmicking it, but he was actually getting sick. Had I known that, I wouldn't have hit him over the back with a barbed wire crutch.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's where that had started. And people, like, we decided to do it at other shows, obviously, like the first No Ring North live show. And, I'd utter the words again. I'm like, as I'm whipping him with a belt, like implying I'm his daddy, I'm like, it's not Jim Cornette. It's not Madman Pondo. It's me. I'm your daddy. Like, and the crowd started chanting, "He's your dad now." And I mean, whether it be Hamilton or Toronto, like people travel for wrestling, and all it takes is those 1 or 2 people in the crowd when I came out to start chanting, "Kyle's dad, Kyle's dad." And I was like, do I really like that was the point where I was like, I'm either gonna own this now and make it a thing and let it be a thing. Like, cause it was just gonna be a no ring north thing, you know, it has its own inside jokes. And then it was like, all right, I guess I'm going to be Kyle's dad in a few different places for a while because people travel. And I mean, it was a thing. And it gave us both something to do coming out of COVID, where it was like it was this built in storyline. And the fans that traveled are really the ones responsible for making it a thing in different promotions.
Absolutely. I mean, it was cool for me because I got to pretty much call it. I am one of the commentators, the better commentator at New Frontier Pro. And I got a chance to call that storyline for the whole arc of New Frontier, from Kyle coming out at your debut match at New Frontier saying, "It's not over, Dad," to all the up above, to that trifecta of matches that ultimately led to the embrace of father and son.
Well, you know, you got to give the people, what they want to see.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Now, when you were on with the mini host, you talked about being a big fan of the View Askew movies. And I as well am. Anybody who doesn't know, we're talking about all the Kevin Smith movies. And yes, you're right. I did post today, as we're pre-recording this interview, I reclaimed my lost copy of Dogma. I found a very cheap and affordable copy on eBay, and I snatched that bad boy up, and it came in the mail today. And I also got this gem a couple weeks ago, and I'm very excited about this because this is my first and only one of these. That's right. An authentic Kevin Smith autograph right
That's
there.
a beaut.
I got it off
beaut.
I got it off Facebook Marketplace. So I got to say, when you look at all the View Askew movies in its whole amazingness that it is, from Clerks to Mallrats to Chasing Amy to Dogma to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back to Jay and Silent Bob's reboot to Clerks 3, all of the above. What is it about Kevin Smith and his writing style that you think gravitates you towards those movies?
Well, I mean, you know me as a person. I mean, the wrestling character isn't far fetched from the real person. And it's just that type of humor, like, really just sticks with me. Like, it's funny. It's funny stoner humor, but it's also got an in-depth storyline to it, and it's not too far-fetched or hard to follow. It's just I that's what I kind of like about it. It's super relatable. A joke between me and Chris Holler, one of the referees for New Frontier that I've grown up with, is that I literally held like every job that's featured in the View Askew universe. Like, I was a clerk, like I worked at a corner store. Like, I also worked in the mall doing a couple jobs. Like, it was just all these weird jobs that I did that lined up with those movies. So it's like I got to live the experience. And so they're all super relatable. And obviously you sprinkle in a little bit of stoner humor, and yeah, it's right up my alley.
Absolutely. For me, there's a few lines that have transcended my life, from stoner teenager, to adult stoner, and now to father stoner. The lines that transcend me are, "Oh, look, it's a schooner. Ha ha, you stupid bastard.
Yeah.
That's not a scooter, that's a sailboat. Schooner is a sailboat, stupid head. You know what? That down there, that's no Easter Bunny. That's a man in a suit." Oh, so good. Absolutely good. And then of course, I mean, the ultimate scene for me, my favorite scene of any of the movies, is in Dogma. It's the boardroom scene. It's when they go around and literally, Ben Affleck lists all of their sins. And then they go up to the CEO of movie and he whispers something in his ears, and all you see is Matt Damon. "That was your son, you sick fuck." And it's so good. There's just something about Kevin Smith and the way he writes it.
Yeah.
The way he writes, I think Kevin Smith is one of the few directors, and I have this whole bunch of useless film school knowledge, but he's one of the few directors that writes for the actor. Like, when he's writing a character, it's like, this is who was gonna, like, when he wrote Dogma, he thought Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. 100% he did.
And you know what? In the vein of Dogma, I even have to say, like, forgive me, view askew gods, for I have sinned. I have not yet watched Clerks 3.
Oh, that
I
one
know.
is
I
so good.
know.
It's so good. And it's, you know what? It was the perfect ending to a trilogy that we all grew up with. And it was
Yeah.
the perfect homage to these characters.
Yeah. I've got the gist of it. It's at the point where I'm going to be watching it to watch it. But I mean, I've watched Mallrats probably a friggin' thousand times. So doesn't matter. I'll probably watch this one a bunch of times too.
Yeah, I own all three Clerks, and I have to say that without a shadow of a doubt, 3 is my favorite. Just the meat and potatoes of everything that happens in that movie. That one is my favorite. I love 1 and I love 2, but 3 just hit different, man. I'm not gonna lie. 3 at the end of it all, I teared up. PD, I cried a little bit. I did.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when it's a conclusion and the characters, like that happens. And if you cried a little bit, I'm gonna cry.
Oh, you will.
I'm terrible with movies. Like I buy into characters. Like when I watch something, like I invest. So like if somebody did a good job as their character and they're about to get whacked, killed, like whatever, like I'm a mess. I'm a mess.
Scarface at the end of the movie. He's getting ready to blow everybody away. Not Tony.
Like I watched all 7 seasons of Sons of Anarchy in 1 week because it was like between jobs, and I was like, I'm just gonna crush these seasons. But I got so invested in it because you figure 7 seasons in the course of like 5 or 6 days, and I'm just like, I'm a mess. I'm like everybody's all over the place. People are dying, and
Oh, that is amazing.
I'll probably be to circle back. I will be a mess at the end of Clerks 3, probably guaranteed.
You 100% will. Now, you and me, we share a lot of other things in common. Not only our love of movies, the fact that we are, amazing in our avenues that we pursued in wrestling. You for being an in-ring talent, to myself being able to be a narrator for the great storytelling that here in Ontario Indies that we have. We also share a united front that we are both girl dads. That's right. We have women that run our lives, from our better halves to our children. And I don't know about yourself, but my dog is also a girl. So I have nothing but women that surround my life. And you know what? I look at it this way. I always say this, and maybe it's cheesy, maybe it's corny, but being a girl dad is the biggest. Is that a girl?
Boy.
Boy.
Despite the Karen haircut, this is my homie in the house.
Perfect. The fact that you have more testosterone in the house, that evens things out. I love it.
So I wouldn't say I got more testosterone. There's more wiener, not more beans.
There you go. You got a little bit more. You got a little bit more twig, not so much berry. I completely understand. But being a girl dad, it hits different because I see that it takes any man can be a dad. You make a baby, you could be a dad, but it takes a real man to be a father, and it takes an even stronger man to raise a strong woman. Do you agree with me on that statement?
I would 100% agree with you on it. One thing I will say is being a girl dad was probably the best option for me. It is what needed to happen to me. It was something that would challenge me in a different way than being a boy dad, I guess you could say. Just, because it wasn't just, oh, how was I brought up? What worked, what didn't work? I mean, some of those options are off the table once you're a girl dad. So, it was a challenge to better myself as a person. And yeah.
What's the coolest thing you like about being a girl dad? Like, what's the coolest thing that you love? Like with me, I love connecting with my daughter on a level where we can connect on certain things that we both love, like horror movies or video games and wrestling, of course. But we can also connect when she needs somebody to bounce an idea off of or vent to. Her mother and I have that great relationship with her where we could be that vent. Now she's only 13. That may change as she gets deeper in the teenage years, but right now she's she definitely is very open and honest with us, and we love that part. But for you, what's the coolest thing about being a girl dad for you?
With the girl dad thing, it's just finding that way to connect to them. Like, because like I said, it's always a challenge. Like, yeah, she got into superheroes when she was younger, and there were little things that we clicked on where I was like, boom, that's right up my alley. But and that there's the other things like she's into makeup now, and the shopping thing. So, trying to take an interest in that and looking at that stuff and all the stuff that I normally wouldn't do. Like, actually, full disclosure, like I love shopping. So that's one thing I would say, like, that not a lot of like guy dads are like, oh, my kid loves shopping, but my kid loves shopping and so do I. So that'd be a girl dad thing where I'm like, yes.
We share that too. We're actually very weird because I hate shopping most of the time, but the one day I live for is Boxing Day. I will get up at 5:36 a.m. I will go to the mall and I will wait in line at a store to get an item. And I'm really weird. My wife's like, I don't understand it. You can get that item. Yeah, but Boxing Day hits different.
I used to work at Best Buy, so Boxing Day hits different.
Literally, it's different.
Now when it's Boxing Day, like ever since I don't work at Best Buy, actually one year I think I got a cell phone only because it was a deal like I couldn't turn down, so I went just before the store closed after all the door crashers. I wasn't going for anything fancy that I had to worry about being gone, but it was still a good deal on a gift card or something. But aside from that, like Black Friday, Boxing Day, they can all just get lost for me. Like I'm just like, no, I started having PTSD from being in the trenches at Best Buy.
I love let's explore the trenches that were Best Buy. What is the weirdest fucking thing that happened to you in your customer service journey, if you will? Like one of the stupidest things a customer may have said or asked of you.
Well, I mean, I've had, people trying to activate phones with, fake identification where, their eye color was black, listed on the identification. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, just weird things like that. Like them trying to, use our personal, like when I worked at Best Buy, them trying to use the demonstration phones, like for personal calls and stuff like that. Just like when you work in the mall, like you get a lot of mall weirdos, but I mean, we're all weirdos in one way or another. So, I mean, they're just different kind of weirdos than I am.
They hit different. They hit different,
Yeah.
100%. So I got to talk to you about PD Skills, the wrestler. We've talked a little bit about PD Skills, the man, but PD Skills, the wrestler. You transcend genres in wrestling, but what I mean by that is you can mix it up in the ring better than a lot of guys that I know. You can tell great stories, but also the cool thing is that when it comes down to it, you can deathmatch, you can no ring north, you can go hardcore. You have the layers that a lot of wrestlers strive for, but some never reach. And I'm not saying all, and I'm not naming names in any way, but you're able to transcend different promotions. What is it about the longevity that you had? Because like I said, if I've done my research correctly, you've been going since almost 18 years, right? 19 years now?
Yeah, 2004.
So there you go. You're literally almost at your 20-year anniversary.
Like I had a few years break when I first became a father, but
of course. But now you're back in it. And I mean, you've been able to transcend and keep it going for 20 years. And I've seen you have some banger matches. Like I said, the feud with Kyle at New Frontier was entertaining as fuck. The shit you've done in No Ring North and the clips that I've seen are amazing. And then you look at some of the stuff you've done recently in New Frontier. Like right now, you had a budding feud a little bit with Ada Prince. You had some great matches with Tyler Arrow. Like the fact is, I look at PD Skills as somebody that transcends a great, decent 20-year indie career. How do you think about yourself? Like when you started this, did you think 20 years later you'd still be going, even with a few years off?
I mean, I would say I would hope so. The magic number always floated around 40. That I'd like to be able to do at least then if it's going good. I mean, and I'm feeling good, obviously, why stop a good thing? And nobody ever really quits wrestling. I don't think I'll ever get to that point. But I definitely hoped that there would be some sort of longevity to it. But I mean, nothing's promised. I mean, injuries happen, stuff like that. Thankfully for me, the only thing I've had is a separated shoulder. It still irks me to this day. That's the one thing that kind of causes me a lot of pain. But it's as far as being able to stay around, don't be a dick. And, people will be happy to have you.
That's almost like a fortune cookie. Just don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Just don't be better. So basically 20 years in to this business, all the matches that you've had, all the feuds that you've had. And I mean, the fact is that you've never wrestled in the Big Apple. and you want to, before you hang it up, you want to get booked at one show in the Big Apple, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I have full disclosure. It's not like it's a far stretch. I have been given an open invitation now that the passport's in order. I was told once the passport's in order, there's a door open there, and you it may be kicking down that death match door for some no ring action, and hopefully that happens. But going back to the States in general is a big one because I mean, as everybody knows, it's a little bit anybody can come wrestling. Like Americans coming to Canada, real easy. Canadians trying to wrestle in America, not so easy.
Mhm. And why do
So,
you think that is? Like, that's one thing I never understood. They can
well,
come over
because
here, no
we're
problem.
taking like, and I get it. It's one of those things where I get it, but I don't agree with it. Like, I don't agree with what the way it's being carried out, but I understand, and they are right in the base thinking of it is that I'm taking a job from somebody else.
Okay.
And in order to secure a visa over there, like you have to submit paperwork and statements that basically give them reason to believe that you are in possession of extraordinary talents that merit coming over there to work because they won't find necessarily that in somebody else there. And that's the way that their laws are built around working in the country. And you know what? It's not professional wrestling isn't a pastime, like a passion project or whatever. It's how some people put their food on the table. So it is a job. So under the same standards that to work a regular job over there, like a 9 to 5, where you would need that visa, I get it. But then the reason I say I don't agree is because we know at the end of the day, sometimes that's freaking, for some people, just a little bit over gas money and, and a t-shirt and see you later. Like, I'm not really working a job, but they even look at it like they need visas for even if you're not making money.
So it's a lot of concealed red tape, if you will. There's
Yeah.
a lot of hoops you got to jump through to go over,
Yeah.
like you said, to fill your tank halfway.
Yeah, but like, so at the end of the day, it's like, all right, well, I'm going to Myers today. And if I just so happen to throw these wrestling boots on, well, I mean, that's a different story.
That's 100%.
But I'm going to Myers. I'm going to Myers. Hey, we don't have the same Pop-Tarts and cereals as you guys, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, there you go. Dude, I was so happy when last time I went to the States when our dollar was crazy. Remember when our dollar was better than theirs for those couple of months?
Yeah.
We went over there, the wife and I bought easily $50 worth of cereal. Shit that I hadn't seen in years, shit that's not over here anymore. Like the real borderline diabetes in a box. Like I wanted to get.
And that's why, like, and I've said this to like promoters before that I've talked to there in the States where they're worried about booking, like, because it's Canadian, where I'm like, don't worry. I'm not ripped or anything like that. I don't look like I'm going over the border to wrestle. If I tell them I'm going to Myers, trust me, I look more like a guy that's going to buy Pop-Tarts and cereal than a guy who's going over to compete as a professional athlete. Like, come on.
No, it's true. It's absolutely true. But yeah, I declared happily like $60 for the cereal. He's like, you got anything to declare? I'm like, fuck yeah, I got $25 in Cocoa Puffs. I got $15 in Apple Jacks. And you're fucking right. I got all kinds of Fruity Pebbles. And I'm proud of this shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have led with Fruity Pebbles before Cocoa Puffs, just so right off the hop you would have knew I was talking about cereal, though.
Fucking guy. Oh shit. All right. So when it comes down to, I guess, let's ask this about your daughter. What's your daughter's opinion of you being a wrestler and all the crazy shit that you've done? Because now she's older and she's definitely seeing some of it. I know she has.
Well, here's an excerpt of a conversation. Me walking into the kitchen with a couple poke holes on my forehead. Is that from your paint roller, Dad? Yeah. Stupid. She takes a little bit of an interest. She does want to come to a show soon. Obviously, I'm not going to bring her to a deathmatch show. Don't worry, guys. I'm not deadbeat deathmatch dad. I'll bring her to a family-friendly one, and it'll be a great time. And I'll probably subject to my own kid calling me a wiener, but it is what it is. But yeah, like when it comes to deathmatch stuff, like she knows at the end of the day, I'm okay. She doesn't worry about it, nothing like that. She acknowledges the obvious. That's stupid.
Is there Speaking of deathmatch wrestling, like when you look at deathmatch wrestling and how much like the longevity of example of GCW or IWS in Quebec, the fact that they had that super show where both, you know, both rosters kind of went at it just recently, actually, like literally a week ago. Is there one deathmatch wrestler you'd love to mix it up with? Like, I'm assuming there's a few names on the top of your list, but if you could go one-on-one with one of the deathmatch greats, who do you got on the top of your list?
Top of my list. I would have to say that Murdoch is there. I would have to say that Casanova Valentine, a match that should have already happened, is still there. As far as the no ring part goes. But hopefully I get a chance to revisit that one. Akira would be another good one.
Akira's fire. He's doing great things.
Anybody that can put on like more than just a strike fest of hitting each other with stuff are the types of guys I want to do deathmatch wrestling. Like if you're just taking turns hitting each other with stuff, or there's no wrestling, you got to keep the wrestling in deathmatch wrestling.
I like that. That's a fair assumption. So you think some matches in a way are just a slugfest of seeing who can hit each other with the more crazier shit?
In some instances, like I'm not going to drop names. I mean, anybody who watches the deathmatch scene regularly can form their own opinions on who those are. But I mean, it is a thing, and but I like the guys who mix it up with wrestling. And you know what? Some of the names I mentioned, they'll have strike offs with like light tubes or whatever the case is. But I still see them get down dirty, do some creative stuff, and integrate the wrestling in deathmatch wrestling.
I like that. You're right. Yeah, some of the best matches I've seen in deathmatch wrestling. A couple of my favorite matches that I've seen have Akira in it. Akira is phenomenal, and I'm very excited that him and Ricky Shane Page are going to be tearing it up in MLW now on a more regular basis, which is fantastic. MLW got a couple sweet signings with those guys for sure. Now, when I look at deathmatch, it's interesting that you mentioned this point. You said keep the wrestling in deathmatch wrestling. People look at deathmatch wrestling just like you said, a slugfest, a chance to fuck each other up with as much weapons as possible. They don't see the art that's underneath. And the fact is that it's very ignorant of even a lot of wrestling fans, because wrestling fans will be like, I love wrestling, but I just don't do that deathmatch shit. Well, hold on. It's not shit. And it's not, I mean, I get it. You have your own opinion and that's fine. But understand that we as wrestling fans, we fight so hard for people to understand why we love it so much. Why does there have to be a subgenre in what we love so much? Deathmatch wrestling is wrestling. It is. If it's done and incorporated the right way, creatively, like you said. Those are some of the best matches I've seen with some of the coolest shit. Not because they've gone through things or they've put objects at each other or they've hurt each other. Because of how they've told the stories and the cool moves that they've incorporated into it. Do you feel like deathmatch wrestling still doesn't get the respect it deserves?
You know what? It obviously it doesn't. I mean, we wouldn't bring it up as a question if that was the case. But maybe it gets exactly the amount of respect it deserves, because really you only need to respect it if it's your cup of tea, and it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Wrestling's like any other art. Like, I wish everybody could have the attitude I have, like as far as music and anything goes, where I'm like, yo, listen, I might not like, this subgenre of country music, but clearly other people do, because it's winning awards and it's doing this and it's doing that. People like it because it's still alive. And I don't have to like it. I just wish everybody would stop shitting on things. And that's regardless of like whatever you like. Like, can't you just like what you like without being like, if somebody asks you, how do you feel about deathmatch wrestling? Oh, it's not for me. This is why. If you're asked, but when some people are just like, for no, like, where it's like nobody, absolutely nobody, and then random person, oh, this is garbage, I hate this, and this game, this goes, like I said, music, wrestling, anything, like nobody asked you.
The best is when you're having a conversation with someone and they ask you the question and you could already see they're ready to cut you off and pretty much rip your answer right away from you. It's like, hey man, why do you like that stuff? Well, I like it. No, let me tell you why you shouldn't like it. It's like, I didn't even fucking get a chance to say why I liked it before you could tell me why I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the fuck's up with that? I don't understand. Let's talk about Death Proof and a tournament that's happening very soon, put on by the matchmaker of New Frontier. That's right. New Frontier is kind of spearheading this Death Proof, death fight, crazy tournament that we got coming. And we got some of your old friends up in this motherfucker. Matt Cash is up in there.
Yeah.
We've had some card is always subject to change. We've had some wrestlers get announced and then denounced because of stupid shit that they did. And we won't go any further into that. But the fact is, who are you looking forward to getting in the ring with you in that deathmatch tournament?
I'll be honest, when it comes to the Death Proof tournament, I am excited for anything that comes my way. Anybody that wants to get wet, let's do it. Like, I'm pumped up. I told those that need to be told, PD Skills is ready for all rounds and all comers.
Absolutely.
I'm prepared to get cut. I'm prepared to do some cutting. It's going to be a good time. Jesse Amato got announced as a tournament participant, and I ain't my first ever Facebook ban for that. And I've been with Facebook since the beginning. So, I'm about to go prison dom in this bitch.
Prison skills. I fucking love it.
First 24 in Facebook jail. You don't know the things I saw.
Yeah, that's right. Facebook jail.
You know how it feels. You know how it feels to get out, and then for the next 30 days have your posts lowered in people's field, like you're not important, like you're not a regular person of society. That changes a man. Facebook, it's on you.
Well, make sure I don't use this clip for when I post on Facebook. That's for sure. But listen, I got to ask this question because I don't think I've ever asked anybody who's been in the deathmatch scene. What is the weirdest weapon or weirdest thing you've ever used in a match that most people wouldn't consider a weapon?
Weirdest thing I've used in a match was a Barbie doll wrapped in barbed wire.
Yeah, I don't see who the fuck comes up with that.
It was a fans bring the weapons match. So I mean, they brought Barbie wrapped in barbed wire. So Barbie.
Yeah, Barbie. I don't know how you would say that.
Barbie.
Well, like, are you like some of the wrestlers? Like, I've interviewed some people who do the deathmatch thing, and they'll be like, yeah, man, I'll be walking in the grocery store, I'll be walking in the hardware store, and I'll stop and I'll double take and I'll be like looking at something that I've never seen before in the hardware store till that moment, and I'll be like, yeah, I could fucking do some crazy shit with that. Like, are you like that?
To an extent, I could be like that. I don't really impulse buy that much. Like, many people know I use the paint roller now, and that full credit, the person who actually made that for me was the original one was Warhead. I was like, hey man, I need something like handheld that has gusset plates on it, and he's like, I got you, fam. And that was the birth of the paint roller, which a lot of people see that and they're like, that's messed up. And I'm like, yeah, it's definitely a different weapon. And I definitely took, and at first I was like, okay, that's cool. And then one time I heard a fan go, yeah, roll them up, and I'm like, I never realized that this weapon was meant for me until that fan yelled that.
Well, I've got some weapons of my own. I've got some weapons that a few wrestlers were so kind enough to make for me.
Yeah, that looks like a Tyler Hill exclusive.
That is a Tyler Hill exclusive, a 1-of-1. Actually, it was funny when he brought it to me. He was like, yeah, I made one for the match. And then I looked over and I'm like, shit, I got another crutch. Shit, I can make another one for you. And he did. And that's the coolest thing. That, and of course, the Tyler Arrow cheese grater signed by Tyler Arrow.
Oh, there you go.
So, I've, what can I say? I've got a few awesome pieces of memorabilia here in the deathmatch world in Ontario. Do you think that if there was a one-off where, like, sorry, let me rephrase this question. What would be the two wrestlers that you would never see in a deathmatch scenario that you yourself would love to see? Like, it would be like a Futurama shut up and take my money kind of thing. Two wrestlers that are never deathmatch wrestled in their life, but all of a sudden a story builds to the right way and it's like, yeah, these guys got to finish it off in a fucking death match. Who would be? It could be somebody mainstream on your TV every week, or it could be somebody in the indies. Two guys that have never stepped foot in a death match type of scenario that you would love to see. Tangle.
See, and then it's hard for me to say because I'm like, now I have to be like a history buff on some of them because I don't want to say they've never done a death match, especially like if they actually had a decent one. Mm-hmm. I'll be a little bit risky on this one. As far as like mainstream professional wrestlers go, I'd probably want to see like a Kevin Owens death match. That's like, I mean, he's but he's making good money. He's got to take care of a family, and that's my super far fetched. But if it was happening, shut up and take my money, because he can do extraordinary things for a guy his size. Like, he knows how to work a crowd. He knows how to pace. He's great. So that'd be one there. And then as far as the independents go, I'd love to see Tarek have a full on death match.
I love both answers, but the second one hits different. Could you imagine punch, kick, chop, but wrapped in barbed wire? Come on.
Like, I want him to skip the gym for a couple days. I don't want him like veins bulging. The additional risk. That's what made me think. I didn't know I needed to see Tarek in a straight up death match until he made a post about it, like kind of like after a pump in his veins and all that. And I'm like, oh man, that'd actually be sick. Like punch, kick, chop, but with sharp objects somewhere in between. I'm like, I didn't know I needed that until today.
Yeah, you know what? Tarek is a one of a kind athlete, man. I look at the fact that this guy's not on my TV screen every week, and it upsets me. It does irritate me. I'm like, just like, he's so fucking good. Like, I saw him tear it up with Dirty Dango literally a couple of days ago at Destiny. They fucking tore the house down. And man, when Tarek hits in a match, Tarek hits different. Like in a death match, everything's a weapon. But Tarek's whole fucking body is a weapon. That guy's dangerous as fuck in a wrestling ring.
Yeah, and everything he does looks clean. So like, nothing but good things to say in that regard. And yeah, he probably should be on somebody's TV.
Absolutely. The only bad thing I'll have to say about
more regular than he is already on TV. I mean, because of course you can find him on the Fight Network, but yeah, definitely would like to see him on some sort of weekly television.
Absolutely. And the only bad thing I'll say about Tarek is that he has aligned himself with Hayes. And I asked him about that in my interview. I said, why do you align yourself with Hayes? And he goes, people ask me that question all the time. And sometimes you just need a Hayes in your life.
No,
you don't. You don't.
If it's not purple haze, I don't need it.
Let me tell you something right now. There's been nothing about Hayes that is anything. Well, actually, yeah, he does look like a Barney reject for sure.
I was gonna say, he did wear that purple suit, didn't he?
Yeah, he looked fucking stupid. Such an asshole.
But you know what? I don't even think the PD skills is now with purple haze anymore.
You know what's great about Hayes? It's all the shit talking that I've done, and now people in his own personal circle, they've joined me in on this.
That's terrible.
His wife has actually joined me in the fact that she has been involved with him due to Stockholm Syndrome.
That's crazy. You guys should probably stop picking on him. I'm pretty sure I saw a video of him today on the top of a car going down the street.
yeah. Only in fucking Oshawa, baby. Oh, fuck. I hate the city of Oshawa. Anyone in Oshawa should be euthanized. Fuck that city.
I'm going on a limb and saying he's seen the clip I'm talking about.
Yeah, Jesse Amato sent it to me actually right while I was booting up my Zoom and getting everything ready. I looked down at my phone. I'm like, oh, Jesse sent me something. I looked at it. I was like, holy fuck. Only in Oshawa. But you know what? Gabriel Fuerza did mention it. Wow. He did say one thing about Oshawa. It has some pretty good toy stores. It does have some pretty good toy stores.
Well, that's fair. If as long as you guys can find a redeeming quality.
Yeah, I mean that, and it's also got the best deals on crystal meth. I mean, I don't do crystal meth, but the deals are insane. It's like you get crystal meth for free. You get crystal meth for free. You get rehab and crystal meth for free.
The local police department, alongside the Oshawa Mothers Association, they're trying their best to clean up the street. So.
Oshawa Single Mothers Association. Every single mother in Oshawa needs to know who her baby daddy is. That's the fucking truth. Oh, we're going to hell. This last 5 minutes, we're going to fucking hell. I love it. I absolutely love it.
We're in Oshawa forever now.
Yeah. All right. So I guess my two final questions, I'm going to go let you go enjoy your evening. When it's all said and done and you choose to, I guess, ride off into the sunset in your career or maybe wind down your career, who would be the one person you'd love to have that kind of farewell, I'll come back every once in a while for a special deal match type thing? Who would be the one wrestler on the indies you'd love to mix it up for that final time to be like, this is the match where I kind of step back?
if I could convince them to have the banger I want to have, hands down, Warhead.
I like that. Why would you need to convince him? Warhead loves to get fucked up.
We're both getting a little bit older. I mean, if you've seen our last encounter, we did have a PETA slap challenge during the match, but I mean, you want to set a different, like we can have good violent matches that have some comedy in them now, but for the tone that I'd want, like, it'd be like, hey, like, let's each book a week off of work and let's just get completely destroyed. If that, and there's nobody else that I think is better suited for it. There's other people I could do it with and probably still have a cool match. But I mean, as far as people that I go way far back with that, are still kicking this day and that it would mean something, that would probably be it.
I like that. I kind of figured that was going to be your answer. And I knew that was going to be your answer, but I'm okay with the answer. I enjoyed the answer. And now my final question, and this is a big one. Where did the name PD Skills come from?
All right. Well, so the PD has been rotating over the many years. It's it's stood for a couple things, sometimes in joking form. Originally, it was a variation of a backyard wrestling name.
Okay.
Yes, so it's no surprise. It's in documentaries, it's in all kinds of stuff. A book that's coming out that I did the forbidden backyard wrestling, and I used to wrestle under the name of Kid Perfect back then when I did backyard wrestling. And the PD, when I was like, because I wanted to do like a gimmick change or whatever. But then I ended up going to indie wrestling, and because the PD was like originally some slang like Perf Dizzle. So the Perf Dizzle skills, like, yeah, buddy. But then, like, not knowing what it would stand for, I still thought PD Skills sounded cool. And when it was time to do an indie show, and when I had caught an indie booking, I was like, I'm PD Skills. And then it was like, all right, well, what is this indie version of me going to look like? I mean, I know it's got to be me on 10. Well, what do I do? Oh, I sit around and I blaze pot. Cool. I'm the pod doctor, baby. And that's what it was. I was like, that was the first thing that I was like, the pod doctor. That's what it stands for. And like now when people ask, I've kind of, scaled it back to pretty dope. And there's the time that Cody Deaner once asked me in the middle of the ring, he goes, what's the payday stand for? Pillsbury Doughboy?
Wow. That is fantastic. That's a great fucking story.
It stuck for a lot of shows. After I came back, after having like 5 years off, and I wrestled Matt Cash at Stranglehold. And this was the Chan originally happened at a PWX show, but 5 years later, my first match back, and I hear one person in the crowd say Pillsbury Doughboy, and I just turned. I was like, I haven't missed you.
I haven't missed. I fucking love it. Oh my god, this is amazing. And I think that's the picture perfect way to end this conversation. Look at that, PD. You've been busting my chops for 2 years because I fucked up numerous times, but we finally did it. You're in the can. You're part of the Straight Talk family officially. How do you feel?
Book that Warhead match, somebody, because I made it. I've done Straight Talk. It's time to take it home, baby. Your boy's blown up.
Yes, I love it. Oh, PD, my dude, I appreciate you, family. You know I love you. I love all the times we get to shoot it up and get to just talk shit at the shows, before the shows, after the shows, man. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your friendships, man. I really, really do. And for anybody who doesn't know the journey that is PD Skills, where can they find you on the wonderful world of social media?
I like to keep it nice and easy because I ain't got a good memory. So it's at PD Skills Show on all forms of social media. I'm a rebel these days, so you got to catch me in between bands, but that's where you can find me.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Guys, that's it for this one. Me and PD Skills. We're out of the building. We're done. Peace, love, and wrestling. See you next week. Peace. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on that notification bell so you get notified each time we post a video. Alternatively, you can check us out on all podcast platforms and host it on Podbean.
We are also available on the SNME Network. That's the Sunday Night Main Event Patreon. Please feel free to check us out there as well. And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at _Straight Talk on Twitter, at Straight Talk Wrestling on Instagram, Straight Talk Wrestling on Facebook, Straight Talk Wrestling on TikTok, and of course, you can check out all our merch at ProWrestlingTees.com.
I don't need a nigga cosign. Without the liquor, you become a victim. You ain't never got a pole mine. I ain't messing with this generation. Fuck your gender, I ain't got